this I hope that you have your planners. I hope that you have your notebook. This is going to be a working session, and we're going to be here for a minute. I'm going to try to run through the material in an hour, but just be prepared that it could be an hour to an hour and a half. And what you should leave with is a clear vision for next year. And in terms of different categories and different priorities for your year, and then broken down into quarters and things of that nature. We will continue in 2021 doing weekly planning sessions. I do that myself every week, and so it just makes a ton of sense for me to open that time up for everybody and do that with you. And so clearly we're not going to sit down and plan out every week of 2021 tonight. We're not crazy, and that's a waste of time. But we're gonna get it down pretty good. So thinking, actually, I want to ask you guys a question first. How many of you guys have ever actually sat down to plan out a year before?
I mean, some things, I don't know, like how in depth,
Yeah. Anybody else? Does anybody else love this? I love it. And Brian and I did it last year for I think we went on date night, and I took my calendar, and that's what we did for a date night. And I remember we laughed about it because we looked at some of the stuff that we're going to look at tonight, down to what holidays are in this month, and what money do we need to save for this, and what things always come up that we forget about. And, it's like, if you don't plan for it, some of these things that come up every single year, and we're surprised by it every dang year, we didn't know Easter dresses were coming again, right? That's just some things like that. And so I really enjoy doing it, and this method has worked for me for the past couple of years. One of the things that I will tell you is, there will be check-in points throughout the year in 2021, because it's really important. Yes, property taxes. We will talk about taxes actually in a little bit. But it's going to be really important to have check-in marks on this, because I will caution you against spending this incredible time, whether you're doing it here with us tonight or whether you're doing it on the replay, spending that incredible time to plan your year and then walking away from it. That's a waste of your time. Please don't do that. So one of the things that I changed a few years ago was making resolutions versus goals. Resolutions, that's just not what we do. It's not really you can't execute anything against resolutions. You can execute against goals. You can cut them down into bite-sized pieces and really make that into a reality. Resolutions are wishes. And so I hope that you guys will take that with you into this. But what we want to do is we want to have a focused year. Clearly 2020 has taught us that we are not in control of time or anything like that. So we've all learned how to give up the idea of how we think it's supposed to be this year, or at least that's what it's tried to teach us. And so what we want to do, though, is understand that whether it's 2020 or your mental health or your job or your family or whatever, you do have control of some things, okay? And I hope you understand. Yes, I understand that children totally vampire our time sometimes. We don't know what happens to some time, and that's normal and that's natural. But the idea is that you do have control over what you said you were going to do. So when you erase something off your calendar, or when something gets thrown off, you have to replace it. You have to put it right back on there. It's not like it just goes away. And so having something like this will give you something to go back to. And that is also a goal of this, having an outline, having a skeleton that you'll be able to go back to. I want you guys to have some confidence and some clarity going into 2021 too. I'm curious, how many of you guys already have an idea of what you would like to accomplish in 2021?
Excuse me. So overwhelmed right now.
I am curious. I'm curious if any of you guys haven't picked a word yet. Have you heard of it before, picking a word for the year? And if you have you already picked one?
No, but I think I will right now.
That's good. We're going to do that tonight. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
I've struggled just a little bit with this coming year. I have a couple of things that I'm just like really teetering back and forth, but I think I'm landing on intentional, because if I pick the word intentional, which I have not picked in the last couple of years, and granted, if you do pick words, there's nothing wrong with picking the same one 2 years in a row. That's completely fine. But I think I'm going to settle on intentional, because it hits all the areas of life. We're going to talk about picking a word and stuff like that in a little bit too. But I want you guys to also know that as we hammer this out, you are going to have to protect it like crazy, because it's also going to be a waste of your time to do this and not be able to find the strength and the bravery and the love for yourself, quite frankly, and your own family and your own goals and the things that you want, if you do not have the boundaries in place to be able to say no to a lot of stuff. Okay. And so I want you to know that by saying yes to the things that you're going to carve out tonight, that means you're going to have to say no to some stuff that you might be comfortable saying yes to. But when you do that, you will be able to see some progress on things like that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to review our year, because you cannot go into a new year. And actually, before, did anybody watch the goal setting with Romy and Oliver Dibley last night? Has anybody watched that yet? Okay. I wanted to tell you that I watched it today, and it is not the same thing that we are doing tonight. So I highly recommend that you watch it. And I'm also going to tell you that carving out the time to work on your business, when we are very busy working inside of our business all the time, you must, as a business owner, carve out the time to work bird's eye view on your business, or else your business is just going to be all over the place. You have a much greater chance of your business being controlled by your emotions and your feelings and all the things that just hijack our business on the day-to-day if you do not spend time working on it. Okay. So I highly suggest you watch that one too. I'll mention a couple of things from it tonight, but we are not going to be doing the same thing. So take a piece of paper out, and we are going to review 2020. You need to know what you're taking with you, and you need to know what you are leaving behind. This is the first thing that I'm going to set a timer for. And guys, sometimes the timer is going to get cut short, and you're going to have homework too. You're going to have more things to do to work on your business for 2021 after tonight, for sure. Your wheels will most likely be spinning. But right now I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes, and I want you guys to start writing down some of the highlights. Let's start with the highlights of 2020. What went well? What did you love? And I clearly, we are talking about business, but also we are not just talking about business. Tonight, we are talking about your entire year in all the different categories. What went well? What are you proud of? What did you accomplish? Any of those things, down to little things. Like I got a bunch of stuff minimized in our house this year, and it was wonderful. That definitely went on my highlight. So I'm going to set a timer, and I want you guys to think on that, okay?
Are you guys focusing like mostly business or just everything?
So I would like it to be everything. And a note that I have in mind as I did this was that these fell into categories for me. They fell into business, they fell into personal, they fell for me into marriage, and then they fell for me into health as well. So you'll find that these are going to fall into some of those parenting, self-development. They're going to fall into those categories. And those categories, they're natural, and they'll also come into play towards the end of what we're doing tonight. For examples, like on mine, I have stuff on there as in like things I got minimized in the house. That was a really big deal for me. Having my hormones balanced earlier in the year was a really big deal for me. The increase that we had in team growth this year was on there for me. Sarah R was on there for me. It was just did a bunch of house updates. Those were highlights. Those were good. Okay. So when we are thinking about the highlights of your year, I hope that you get a feeling when you get to go back and think about this. And if you are not in the practice of practicing gratitude every single day, I just really encourage you to take that into 2021, because what should happen whenever you're thinking back over the highlights, and I'll tell you something that I do. I'm a paper planner person. I did use Google Calendar a little bit this year, but every year I go back through my paper calendar and I get the feels over the stuff that like we did, or like hikes that we took, or just like different things like that. And that feeling that it gives you, and a little bit when we talk about casting your vision for 2021, that's the feeling that you want. You know that certain things made you feel great. Take those things in and amplify them, and maybe let those things roll into other things that you want. If you watched my video a week or so ago on goals, dreaming big and creating big goals, these are the feelings that we want to draw on whenever we're doing that. So the next thing that we're going to tackle in terms of reviewing for 2020 is what did not go well. What needs improvement? And I heard Bob say something on one of the things I've listened to recently, and I think it was him. He was talking about that feeling of regret. That feeling of regret, you need to pay attention to, and you need to respect, and you need to find incredibly valuable. Because when you have a feeling of regret, that means that there's room for improvement. There's something that you don't like that you wish you'd done, which means that there's a specific action that you wish you'd taken that would take that regret away. Well, in fact, you can't do anything about the past, but you can do something about the future. And so I want you to think about what major lessons, what minor lessons, what regrets do you have? And it can be hard, but you need to let yourself experience that emotion. That emotion is really important, by the way, to mental health as well. Being able to acknowledge that, and then also observe it and find out how you're going to correct that, how you're going to make that different. Don't let the emotion take a hold of you. Just observe it and recognize that it's real, and then be able to tie something to it. This is the action I can take to make that regret go away. Because Romy said in the call last night, you can't be upset about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. Well, if you didn't get some results that you wanted, if you said that you wanted to do something this year and in fact you didn't do it, can't really be upset if you didn't take the action, right? But what you can do about that regret is you can take different action in 2021. So I'm going to set another timer really quick, and I want you guys to think about what needs improvement, regret, just what did not go well. Maybe you tried to implement a system and it didn't work. Maybe you started to let VCs sign themselves up and that didn't work. Different things like that. And then also in that, what are you letting go of? So what fears are you letting go of? Okay, does anybody need lots more minutes? I know sometimes you're gonna need more minutes on these, but. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to touch on is, and if you have ever done planning sessions with me before, or you come to do them in the future, you will know that one of the first things that we look at are dates that cannot be moved. And so when we are looking at all of 21 and this 2021, and this is something that always excites me too, when you look forward to the year, you can flip through the year and you can go ahead and think about birthdays, anniversaries, vacations. Do you have any weddings? And I don't know what the world is going to look like in 2021. I have no idea. But do you have any dates like that that you know good and well need to be planned around? And one of the things that those of us that have read the book, The One Thing, and if you haven't, I highly recommend it. He talks about the most successful people, they block their time off first. And so if you don't have a vacation, if you don't have, and we'll talk a little bit more about this stuff in the quarterly as well, but if you don't have those things on your calendar for 2021, I want you to be thinking about them. Okay, because I am assuming that every one of you guys are planning on working really, really hard in 2021. Whether this is the only gig you have, or if you have a full-time job and this, or if you have a million kids like me and this, you're gonna need time off, okay? If you are working your business, treating it like a business, if you are hustling hard for the things that you say you want, you're gonna want some time off. So go ahead and look at that calendar, whether you are using a digital calendar or you've got your planner. I want you to flip through there. I want you to pop down things that you know you cannot move. This would also be a good time if you know that your whole family normally, and granted, again, I don't know what next year is going to look like, but if you know that there's like a 4th of July thing that you guys do, or if there's something like that, that always kind of comes up and bites you when it comes to time, this is the time to pre-plan for that. This would also be the time to put in things like if you are part of a training program, or if you're taking coaching of any kind, or if you are showing up to calls at certain times, this is also the time to block those out, because that's also what happens. And we'll talk about that in the quarterly, and we talk about that in the weekly and monthly planning sessions already. But a lot of times I'll hear, oh, I have dinner on that night, or I have this on that night. And really, for me, especially whenever I began building my business, I scheduled my life around the things that were important to me, and the things that were important to me were showing up to calls so that I could learn how to grow my business. And especially if you are in the beginning stages of your business, you're going to have to plan for those things, because most likely your life isn't already planned for things like that. This is new, and so you have to plan for what's important to you. So this would be a good time to pop those things on there too. I'm curious, and I'm going to be doing a lot of talking clearly tonight, but I would love for you guys to give me your feedback. If there's something in particular that you always forget about every year, because here's the thing, if you forget about it every year, somebody else might too. So I would love to hear from you guys as you're doing this. You guys in a good spot? Yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
I was just going to add something that I'm going to focus on this year. I was just trying to get some of my dinner chewed up. So some of the dates that I can't move, obviously, are my book club. That's been really great club, a great book club this past year. So looking forward to that. And then one thing I'm going to start, I feel like one of my regrets is I need to be a better leader. I have a team page, but I rely mostly on Team Sparkle page. And I just feel like I need to apply myself more in that role. I do a Monday morning recap at my job with my team at my job.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking I will incorporate a Monday morning recap, if anything, like that can't be changed for my RF team.
That's so
To
cool.
go live, which I hate, so.
I think that that's really cool. I would be so excited to see that growth in you next year, because I think that you're right there. That's cool. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing we have reviewed, if you guys need to go back and touch on things, definitely I encourage you that if there are things that are not done tonight that you're not, you haven't closed the book on, that you need to spend time on that, because I can't say enough how much paying attention to the things that you wish you'd done, like that regret. A lot of people focus on the saying of like, yeah, I can't change the past or whatever. No, you cannot change the past. You cannot, but you can change the future. And if you have that feeling about something, you know good and well that you can show up differently, learn a new skill, do something to push you in that way. And so I really encourage you guys to dig into things like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is really identifying your core values and your priorities, because as we go into planning 2021, you can't possibly focus on everything, okay? And again, I'm going to go back to the book, The One Thing. If you haven't read it, please read it. You cannot focus on everything. You have to know what your core values and your priorities are, okay? I hope one of them is your RNF business. I truly do. But if you'll listen to last night's goal session from Romy, she was talking about your why and your goals. They are not the same. Your goals are the things that get you closer to accomplishing your why. Your goals are not your why. And I'm not going to talk about that tonight, but I do encourage you guys again to go back and listen to that from last night. But identifying what are the priorities for you. And I pick 3 things, and I'm going to show you my spreadsheet towards the end. I pick 3 things. And inside of those 3 things, that's where, as we go to plan quarterly and monthly, that's where I will focus my goal setting. And so I don't know if it's family time. I don't know if you're in school, if it is your business. But I want you to spend a couple of minutes. I am going to set the timer for 3 minutes again, and really ask yourself, what deserves your time, what does not deserve your time. And I'll tell you that I've learned more about myself by figuring out what I don't want versus what and then that always shows me what I do want. And so what doesn't serve these core values and these priorities, we're going to get rid of as we move forward. We're going to make that adjustment. We're going to cut that time down as we go into 2021. So start brainstorming, really listening to what's inside your head, what is important to you. And if you have anything to share, feel free to share. I set the timer, so we'll go now. Okay. Would love to hear from you guys. I think for some of you, this might be a hard exercise, pinning down 3 things that are priority to you. Would anybody like to share? Nobody?
Sure, I'll go. My 3 priorities are definitely family, because I feel like I want to be more present. That's definitely a goal. And then would be my business, my second business, my side hustle, and and then I have some goals within my other job. So really those 3 things would probably be, I think there's a lot that goes into family as being a priority. So there's definitely like sub parts of that, they go along with it to make it, it's probably, going to be a majority of, the largest part of it for sure.
What you all will see in a little while is that whatever 3 things that you just picked, as we go into quarterly and monthly, every single thing that we do, we're going to ask ourselves a question. Are the things that we just put on that list, do they support what we said that were our priorities? Okay. And for me, I'll tell you, for my priorities, they have changed throughout the 6 years that I've been in business. Right now, they are family time. I've got 2 kids getting ready to graduate high school and be gone. And family time in 2021 is going to be number 1. And true freedom, really being unattached, having my business work for me, really having it work on its own. And I made big strides toward that this year. But then my third one is will probably always be making an impact. And the way that I make an impact is through this business, through teaching other people how to run successful businesses and helping people love their skin with the products. And so you will see in a quarterly breakdown for me how those things tie in. And you should be able to, again, this is not our why, right? These are priorities. This isn't why we do our business. These are goals. And so we're able to execute against and break them down into smaller pieces. At this point, does anybody have any questions or need any help? Does anybody need any help with that? Because that's a really big deal, picking out 3 things that are going to be priority to you. And I don't mind. It's 7:35. I think we're making good time so far. So. Awesome. Okay. If you guys know this, I hope my inbox is always open. If you need help with something like that, please don't hesitate to ask me. So the next thing we're going to think about is, what is our long-term vision? Okay. Because as we get into the different layers of it, we've kind of looked at the logistics of 2021, just the broad logistics, the things we can't move, the priorities, the things like that. We need to think about long-term, 5 years from now. So what's long-term? 3 to 5 years from now. You saw what I posted this morning as well. Go and look at that, because this business is 3 to 5 years. And if you are consistent with it and you work it, and if you show up for yourself in your business, you are not going to believe what you have freaking built in 3 to 5 years. I promise. So what do you want your life to look like in 5 years? And my son and I talk about this all the time because it's really important to have an idea. You want that vision to be big. You want to have your RNF business. You want to have it light something up inside of you, as in, like, this is what I want my life to look like in 3 years. And visualization is huge. I have a journal that I write things in, and I highly recommend. I saw this suggestion somewhere a couple of weeks ago, doing a video. So privately, with yourself, do a video on your phone of you talking either to yourself in 5 years or from yourself in 5 years, as if you've already accomplished like these things. Like, this is where I live. This is what my house looks like. These are how happy my kids are. These are the things that we do. This is who I am. And another thing that I really like is writing or videoing advice to yourself 5 years ago. Like, hey, you're going to need to push through the hard times. You're going to need to, all this stuff. Like, people always say you can only quit on a good day, right? So on a good day, how do you feel? How proud of yourself are you? All of those things. Keep that for your long-term vision completely. So I would highly suggest, as a side exercise, writing a letter to yourself with that kind of advice, or a video as if you've already accomplished it, or just sit for a moment with a piece of paper or a journal and just write. Let yourself dream. Write down some stuff that's pretty audacious. Like, let yourself feel like, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy, right? Do those things, because those things are really, really important. So I'm gonna suggest that you do that on the side for sure. But think about your long-term vision. Go ahead and take a couple of minutes and just like scratch out some things that you know for sure that you want. Do you want to, be able? I don't know, if you have kids and you're like me, like, kids are driving cars. We have 2 in cars, and we have 3 still to put through cars. And so in my long-term vision, it's that we're just able to pay cash for those cars. No big deal. insurance for all 5 of them doesn't hurt. Like, these are the things that are in like long-term vision. Vacations, international travel, when that's like a thing again. All of those kind of things are in my long-term vision. And so take a couple of minutes and I want you to just dream. And I want you guys to know that that encompasses relationships, health, mental health, faith, business, family, all of these things. Okay. And I know that that's something that you're going to want to work on more. It's a practice that I've done better at this year, journaling and things like that. It feels, if you've never done it, it feels a little weird in the beginning. But I just really encourage you to do it because belief is everything. And if you believe you can do something, you can do it. It's not just a saying, it's not just a cute thing to post on social media. If you can visualize yourself doing it, if you can believe that you can do it, it's done. You don't know how you're going to do it yet. You don't know all the things that are going to pop up in your way yet. You don't know all the obstacles or the speed, but you know that it can be done. Okay. So now we have our long-term vision or an idea of what we want over the next 3 to 5 years. I want you to tailor it down just a little bit and cast a vision for 2021. So your top goals, and I will encourage you. One of the things that they talked about last night, if you'll go back and watch that from last night, is your title, your title goal. So what do you want to be? Do you, by the end of 2021, do you want to be a level 5 leader? Is that what you want? They will tell you in the video from last night, they will tell you the increase, like the percentage of increase in your paycheck between each level. And it's mind blowing, by the way, mind blowing. And so if you're a numbers person, if you like that kind of stuff, Romy and Oliver and Dr. Tim will break it down for you on the video from last night. But I encourage you to have a personal volume goal, an organizational volume goal, even if you are a team of 1. We all start as a team of 1, okay? What do you want your team of 1 or 5 or 10 or 25 to grow into by the end of the year? And this is also when you look at your priorities, I want you to have a top goal for each priority, okay? If that makes sense. Hi, Bailey.
Miles and Lisa, you didn't you say that?
Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
I'll be right back.
Right.
Hi guys, I'm sorry. That should have given you plenty of time to think about your top goal for 2021 and each of your priorities. Would anyone like to share?
I will say I struggled a little bit with the volume ones because, you know, volumes is a gradual thing. And if you gradually increase each month, it's hard to know like exponentially what it's going to be at the end of the year. But I just took what we did this year and made it bigger. But anyway, I put that I wanted to have at least one level 5 under me. And I mean, Premier is going away, but I would like to be Premier this year. And I think that's totally possible. And personal volume for the year of 50,000, which puts me a little over 4,000 each month. And then organizational volume of 30 or 300,000, which is a little big for us right now, but with a level 5 under me, I think that we'll probably crush it if that happens sooner rather than later. Anyway, that puts us at 25,000 a month, but I don't think it would be that every time. I want the growth curve.
Yes. I want to really encourage you to watch the training from last night because Oliver talks about linear versus compound growth. And here's another plug. If you guys don't know, there's a list on the team page under the files, and it's some of my favorite books. One of the books that I finally read this year was The Compound Effect. Please read it. Please, it's a teeny tiny book, and it will change the way you think of this business, okay? If your goals with this business are really small right now, I want to encourage you to dream way bigger, and I really want to encourage you to take a look at what you have your hands on. Take a look at what exactly it is that you have in your hands to use and grow and scale, and read The Compound Effect. And that will, if that doesn't open your eyes and make you dream a little bit bigger, I don't know. I really don't know what will. And on that note, when we think about things to leave in 2020, let's please leave fear back in 2020. And we'll talk about that plenty in 2021. But most of the time, the reason why people say that they don't want to, oh, I'm just fine with this, or no, this is all whatever. It's normally because you're scared of something. If you don't know that, that's, if you're honest with yourself and you pull all the layers back, it's normally because you're scared of something. So that's between you, and you've got to figure out what that is for you to dream a little bit bigger that way. But Natasha, those are spot on for you. They are completely achievable, and they're healthy and they're good. I'll show you guys. Before that, I'll tell you, for volume, I did this last year when I started with the business coach that I hired, and I set a goal for the organization to grow in total yearly volume by 30%. We passed that last month. And so setting my goals this way and really sticking to it over 2020 has blown my mind, and it will blow yours too if you do it. I will share my screen and show you guys just kind of an example of the way that I broke mine down. And if my husband will do it for me, I'm going to take this format that I was given, and I'm going to give a blank format on the team page so that you all can kind of do the same thing. Let me see here. Okay, this is it. Do you all see a Google Sheet? Is that what you see? Okay. This is yearly, and I have 3 here. One is that number 3 equates specifically to family time and time freedom, being unplugged. You'll see that my goal, and I encourage you to make your goal the same. My goal is to work less and make more, quite a bit more actually, and quite a bit less actually. And that is a very good goal for you to have. Okay. Does that mean that you won't make time sacrifices and you won't do all these, a bunch of stuff like that, especially if you're in the beginning of your business? No. Okay. You're definitely going to make some sacrifices, as I'm going to make some sacrifices too. We all will, as we build businesses for ourselves. But for me, I have picked my RFX for 2021, which includes just level 1 to level 2 volume of 500,000. 2020, as of last month, it was 283,773. And so I have a bit of growth to do there. Off to the side, I have also put that I would like 1 million in team sales, which will hammer itself, that will hammer itself out if this one goal is accomplished. Okay. And then also, the other way that I want to make an impact is through people as customers, and was able to get my customers up to 50. I have, by the way, if you don't know this, or if you are curious about the way different people build their businesses, I am not a PC queen, nor do I want to be, nor do I ever plan on being. Okay, so I got I love business building, I love coaching, and I love bringing on business partners. That's what I love to do. I've led with the business from day one, and I will do it until I die. But I do know that preferred customers hold a hefty portion of a paycheck, and I also do enjoy helping them with their skin and being able to have that relationship with them. So, the other goal that I have here is to have 75 happy reordering PCs, up from 50. So you got to know what you have, got to know where you're going with it. Okay. And so then you can see 3 is being unplugged, working less. And you see underneath here is something that we're going to do. Underneath here, you have to know, what is it going to take? So you have your goals. You have the goal that you said that you wanted under the priority. Okay. And then you need to break down those goals. What is it actually going to take? And I want you guys to write down a question somewhere. How does that person show up? What does that person do? The person that achieves these things in 2021, who is she? What does she read? What kind of personal development is she doing? What time does she get up in the morning? What is important to her? What does she not do? all of these type of things, you have to give yourself a vision of how that person shows up. Is she excited every single day to go ask people if they want to check out what she has? Heck yeah, she is. She better be, because she's got to, I'll show you this next portion is quarterly, and it's what we're going to go into in just a second, because this person needs to show the business plan quarterly to 12 people at least, okay, to be able to pull out of there what she wanted. So she better be excited about asking the question and doing things like that, okay? Does this make sense to you guys? Does the visual help a little bit, I hope? I'm going to take the visual down for now. We can look at it later if you want to. But I am going to put it up on the team page at some point in time. But you can see that between the yearly goals, these priorities, the 3 that I picked, breaking them down into to recruit 12 new C's, okay? Business building people, not discount people, 12 new consultants that want to build a business. I know that I'm going to have at least 4 a quarter, okay, at least. And so breaking those down like that. Okay, so breaking down the goals, what actions need to be taken to reach that? How does that translate to your calendar? We will talk about how it translates to your calendar when we do monthly trainings as a team, which we're going to continue to do in 2021. Okay. But I want you to think about what kind of time commitment will it take for that? What are you going to be doing during those hours? Are you going to convention? Are you signing up for a training program? And I really want to encourage you guys on something, okay? One of the best things I've done for my business over the past 2 years is invest in myself. So I'm always reading books constantly. We have a book club as a team. If you want to come play with us, we have a ton of fun. But I am always signed up for a program or a course. I have lost count of the things that I've done. You're welcome to ask me. If you see any and you're curious if they're good, ask me. I'm happy to share with you what I'm doing along the way. But I've done everything from hiring a personal business coach at the beginning of this past year to I've finally signed up for Bob Heilig's Legacy Leadership Academy after Trisha's had so much fun in there lately. But I encourage you guys to invest in yourself and invest in your business with time. Are you planning on going to convention? Like we're planning for it now. Convention isn't something that should come up and bite you in the butt every year. Like, you know it's coming, whether it's virtual or in place. So do you need to save money for that? Do you need to block the time off for that? What do you need to do? Any questions that you have at all about programs or coaching or anything like that, just ask, because I love this stuff and I believe that my growth is directly tied to things of that nature, okay? That also will bring up, what will you have to say no to? When I said in the beginning, you are going to have to say no to some things, I wasn't kidding. You're going to have to say no to some things to say yes to your priorities for the year. So I'm going to set the timer. We're going to do another 3 minutes on breaking down those goals. Jot yourself out some brainstorm ideas of how you're going to have to show up and what you're going to have to do to achieve those goals. All right. So that is another thing I am sure that you will have to go back and touch on. But that is also something that as we do, like if you're interested in either watching the replay or coming live to the monthly planning sessions and weekly planning sessions that I do on Sundays, those are things that we're going to be able to touch then as well. But you need to have that breakdown going into the year, okay? I want to encourage you guys when it comes to that for the mindset portion of it. Something that I've done, I did with my son last year that I really enjoyed, we're going to do again this year, is I am statements and I want statements. And I actually just gave him a piece of paper and I told him I wanted him to fill up the paper with I am statements and I want statements. Be bold about the things that you say that you want, and be bold about the things that you say that you are. Who are you? And here's the thing about writing in the future. Like, yes, like maybe you don't have that habit now, so you have to ask yourself, what kind of habits does that person have? You tell yourself today that that's who you are, right? You know, I heard in one of the habit books that I've read, maybe you girls can remember which one it was, but he was talking about for people that are trying to quit smoking, that the ones that say I am trying to quit smoking, well, they never quit because they're trying. It's like you're trying to show up or you're trying to whatever. But the ones that say I am a non-smoker, they have a much higher success rate when it comes to actually being a non-smoker. And so I hope that that makes sense to you guys. I want to encourage you to do things like that. Okay. Affirmations, I am statements, those are huge. They are so big. Okay. So before we move a little bit into specific quarterly planning and a note about something that I love, would anybody like to share their example? I've shared mine with you, and I'm happy to share that again at a later time or at the end if you want to see it, but I would love to hear one of your examples.
I missed what you were asking for. Did you say a spiritual goal? No.
To just to write down the things inside of those priorities. So writing down what you're going to do to accomplish that priority. So having the 3 things that you say are priority for the year that you want to accomplish, and then inside of those 3 things, break that down. What are you going to have to do? Who are you going to have to be? What are the things that you're going to have to show up for, or what are the things that you're going to have to stop?
I'll go, I guess. My 3 priorities I said were like family, and then RNF, and my other job, which is teaching. So within those, my family is just more time. So being more present. So marking out more time on my calendar. That's, you know, like true. Like I mark it out and I do it. I don't just put it on there as an idea. Like my game nights, I always want to do a game night every week and those kind of things. So being more intentional with that.
Yes.
And in like the long run on that is my big goal for the family is to go on a big elk hunt together. So, you know, within that, just being more present and doing those tiny little steps to get it, which is just saving the extra money on that. But with RNF, my 5-year, which I'm hoping it'll be smaller, but that's right now it's the 5-year, is to have a matching necklace with you. But I'm a team of one, so we've got to just scale it back a little bit. And so my big goal within RNF is just to build a team. So you know, the little small one is to, you know, get more people on my team every month. And to do that, I just have to let go of the fear of reaching out to somebody about the business, not just being a PC. So the actual business, like I'll reach out. I've gotten over the fear of reaching out to people to be a preferred customer like that. I'm all over. But to actually reach out to somebody that I think would be good to be on my team, that's something that I really need to work on for 2021. So, and then my job, you know, I teach kindergarten. So I really need, I've kind of this year, one of my regrets or something I want to leave behind is just, I've stopped being like really me, my silly, fun kindergarten self so much this year. It's been a little bit of a stressful year in general, you can imagine, just with everything going on. And so I've just kind of been too serious. So my goal for 2021 is just to be, you know, there's no real measure for that other than me showing up every day and reminding myself every morning that, you know, this is who I am and this is why I like kindergarten and this is what I'm going to do.
I really
That's
love that.
basically kind of the stuff I've jotted down.
I want to encourage you, and for you guys that are new to this sort of thing, and Allison, you and I can talk about this privately as over the next few weeks, making your RNF goals specific. So for you, you probably don't know yet, like how many people and this and that, whatever. But I know that, so on mine, I know that I'm going to have to show the business plan to 12 people to be able to bring four in. That's pretty average, right? And so that's how I was able to break mine down, because I want 12 new ones over the year. That's 4 a quarter. And to have 4 a quarter, then I'll need to show 12 the business plan. And so
that's definitely something, we need to talk, I'd love to talk about, just because I'm, like you said, still new at it. I'm still trying to figure out like the whole idea of like percentages and growing. And I mean, I want to go to convention, but I don't even know when convention is. I mean, I'm still so new at it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what a feasible way to grow.
Absolutely.
To where it makes sense to me,
But
we'll talk about that.
For those of you guys that are new though, and Trish, if you want to chime in here too, you're so qualified to chime in as well. Being just how we both grew in the beginning. And Tracy, I don't know if you're in a place where you can talk, but Allison, you said that you wanted a matching necklace in 5 years. I want to give you some perspective. Me, with 5 kids, working full time, got the qualification for this necklace in a year. Okay. So for those of you that are new, or those of you that want something like that, everybody's timing is different, but it can be done in a year. All you have to do is put your head down. And when it comes to numbers and percentages and things like that, guess what I knew my first year in business? Jack, squat, nothing. I didn't know any of that stuff. The only thing that I knew was that I needed people. I needed people to be able to grow like that. And so I was looking for people, and I will always use the example of Jackie and the 4-leaf clover. If you have a field and you're looking for a 4-leaf clover and somebody tells you that they'll give you $100,000 if you find one, how fast are you going to look for that 4-leaf clover? Pretty freaking fast, right? You're going to look for it. And you're going to pull and pull and pull and pull and pull until you find the one. And that's what you're doing. Okay. The numbers will work themselves out. Trish.
Yeah, I mean, level 5 took me a year. Tracy, it took months, you know, so everybody's different. And you know, it's a lot about too, like, just kind of where we're at in our growth in life and in our mindset and all that too. Like, I may have more things to tackle in mindset than you do, you know, and the other person may have a whole different set of things that they need to tackle, because I mean, mindset is where it's at, and planning, of course, but mindset is a big part of it.
If you plan this entire year and your mindset sucks, it will never get executed. You can have the most beautiful plan in the entire world. Color-coded planner, tabs, stickers, whole 9 yards. But if your mindset is in the gutter, it's not going to get done. Natasha, I want your opinion on this too, because you're there and you are an example of someone who went through massive personal growth.
So it took me 3 years and 1 month to get to my necklace. I hit level 5 for the first time the summer before that, but my team did not maintain. But also, unlike Sarah, like, I was not a hustler in the beginning. I did not need it to replace any income. I was like, oh, if it can pay for my skincare, cool. Like, I came into it with 0 goals, didn't know what goal setting was. My goal was to hit 600, and then it was to be at the top, and then it was to beat Trisha's mom, and like, it was just super random things. And it wasn't until I really feel like this year, like, I wrote down every dollar that I made last year in 2019 from PSQV to team volume, and did out the percentages of growth and different things. But like, I really wrote it and planned it out this year. And it was truly this year where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna make money doing this and not just do it for fun, like, I have to work harder, and I have to cultivate a team of people who are also willing to work hard. So it just, like Trisha said, it's mindset. If you're just going to sit around and wait, it's going to take a long time. It took me a long time. It didn't seem like that long, because I wasn't in a hurry. But as it's come now, and I'm like, ooh, once you get a taste of it, you're like, now I know what it is to make money, and I want to make more.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better, honestly. That's true. And for everybody, it doesn't matter if you just started, if your lights just clicked on, it doesn't matter where you are. When that light clicks on, do not turn it off. Put your head down and do the work and stay the course. Okay. Whatever you need to do in there, do that work. Okay. All right. Let's run through these other questions just really quickly. These are all questions that you can answer on your own as you go through the court, as we actually go through the quarters and the months. But the first question is, what can you outsource? And if you know me personally, this is my favorite. If I can pay somebody to do something for me, you better believe I'm not doing it. Because if somebody else can do it for me, that just gave me my time back. Therefore, I can actually work my business. So that's washing your car, cleaning your house, kids doing laundry. I do not do dishes. I really don't do dishes. There are too many capable hands in this house. Occasionally I do. But any things that you can do, outsource it. Grocery shopping. It may be mandated online in your state. I don't know. But that's something that you don't need to be grocery shopping. Just order it and then pick it up, or have somebody else go pick it up for you, right? The things like that. Basic RNF stuff. Okay, for those of you guys that are getting to a position where this matters to you, and for those of you that aren't, I want to give you some reality of the future. I did hire an assistant this year, and she does some basic RNF stuff for me, things that don't need my touch or my person or my heart or my brand. She does those things for me because they can be done by somebody else. So make a list of things you can outsource and outsource those, okay? If there is something that I can pay somebody else to do for me, by goodness, I'm going to pay somebody else to do it. Second question is, what will you be intentional about doing for you? Okay. And you guys just answer these as you are thinking, especially in these last couple weeks of the year. be thinking about what are you going to do for you. For me, that's always getting enough sleep. Okay. That's making sure I'm having fun, making sure I'm getting fresh air, right? Making sure that I am purposeful about moving my body, because my mental health goes in the freaking tank if it doesn't. So if you are someone who struggles with ups and downs in mental health, you better know how to take care of you. Make sure your toolbox is full. Okay. So you'll make that list of things that you're going to be intentional about doing for you, which will include the next question. Who are you going to spend your time with in 2021? If you look at my circle now versus when I started this business, it is completely different, and I couldn't be happier about it. Okay. When you start to grow, you are going to outgrow some people, and that's going to be kind of uncomfortable. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what your personality type is. Okay. But that's just the way that it is. And you are the sum. I don't know who said it. Whoever said that you are the sum of 5 people that you spend the most time with. It's the complete truth. The complete truth. You can still, and also, by the way, I'm not telling you that like you have to like totally dump people. You can still love people, please. You can still love people, but you don't have to spend time with time vampires, okay? And negativity people. You just don't have to do that. So the other one is what we just talked about. What habit are you going to add in? Like what kind of habits are you going to need to add in for the new year? Okay. We only have one section left. I hope you guys are finding this valuable, and I hope that you will stick with me to check in throughout the year, because we will check in on these throughout the year. It's important. So at the beginning, we talked about having a word of the year and or having a vision board. And I really want to encourage you to do that too. I don't know if you guys would be interested in it, but I was kind of thinking, since everything got messed up and we haven't quite closed out our Mercedes run yet, I was thinking about having like a virtual like 3 or 4 hour retreat for the team. I thought it might be really fun to make vision boards together and do something of that nature, and just kind of team build and do some of those fun things. And so I will tell you what I've done so far. So far, I am actually just using a photo collage app. You can use Canva or whatever, and WordSwag. Put your word of the year on a picture through WordSwag and make a collage. I would say 6. Where am I? I would say a collage of 6 things that you want on your vision board. I have the RFX necklace, the trip. I have a picture of the team. I have a family thing on there. I have a place that we want to travel to on there. And so just make a collage of a vision board. And if you're a paper person, go ahead and get you a board and some magazines and have some fun, but don't underestimate the power of picking a word and making a vision board. And if you guys would like to do something like that, I think it would be a lot of fun to spend a few hours together and just kind of pull up.
What do you do with your digital vision board so that it is somewhat in your face and not just lost on your phone somewhere? Do you print it?
That's a great question, because I've done this before and I don't even know where my last one is. So I'm making it my lock screen on my phone so I can't get away with it or get away from it. And the other thing that I am doing, I am a paper person and I have a stack of magazines. And so Brian and I are going to make a vision board, and I'm going to pop it up here in my work area as well. So I'll be seeing that. But with the digital one, please make it your lock screen. Another creative thing that you can do is have a Pinterest board, Pinterest vision board. You could be easily distracted on there. So be careful with that one.
Make it digital and then also print it too, just hang it right in front of you.
You are so right. It's not that hard, huh?
Now, I was gonna real quick. One thing I've done is I have made it digital and put it as my background, and then shifted all my apps over a page. And so when you unlock your phone, that's like the first thing you see.
Yeah.
I know on some phones that you may not be able to do that. I just know that my phone, I have one of the newer versions, but that's what I've done in the past before, is that way even because with my lock screen, if I put my face up to it, sometimes it opens it up before I even have a chance to kind of see what's on it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no. So I've done a background and then, like I said, just shifted the app so that way when you open it,
Yep.
your home screen is your vision board.
Actually, I really like that.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
I use Pinterest a lot. That kind of stimulates my brain, and I just kind of use a bunch of boards on there.
I love that. I have a Pinterest vision board too. So I also do get distracted on there. So that's why I put that note in there. So anyway, let's move into quarterly. Okay. And so what we're going to do here is a broader vision. You know how people will say sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees? We are going to be in the forest here. Okay. We're looking at quarterly, what is coming up. So we're going to be kind of combining all of the things that we have just talked about, getting specific. So this is the part, if you have your calendar and you have not put anything in it yet, if you have a digital calendar, or if you are afraid to like put anything, also don't use pen in your calendar. I think we all know this, but we do it anyway. But just in case you're like me and you do that, just grab a piece of paper and write January at the top if you want to, or Q1 at the top, or however you want to do that, okay? But that's what we're moving into. So does anybody have any questions on the 3 priorities for the year and breaking those priorities down before we move into this? No? Okay. So Q1, that's January, February, and March, okay? And so what we want to think about, again, beginning with, what are the things that you cannot move? What's going on in January? Do you have school dates? Do you have JOB dates? Do you have birthdays? Do you have anniversaries? Do you have important dates like that that cannot be moved? The other thing that we always want to think about is what's the overall feeling of the people that we're serving? Because if you haven't asked yourself this question yet, whenever it comes to like what you are doing, specifically your business, you need to ask yourself constantly, honestly, who are you serving? What do they want? Okay. What is your message to them? Who are you serving and what do they want? And so in Q1 in January, people have a holiday hangover, they're tired, they're broke, their credit card bills, by the way, are showing up in their mailbox or online. Those things, that's January. We all know it. We've all been there, or we've been around people that have been there. Taxes, okay? Taxes. Brian and I will do another team Zoom for tax questions this year. The one from last year is up online if you're curious about it, but we'll do that again this year. What is happening for you? What are your days off? When will you not be working in January? One of the best things that I did when I reviewed my year in 2020 was I took time off. I had absolute boundaries around certain things for me. And it's very important that you do that. It's also equally as important to write down what days will you be showing up. Are you committing to watching the Sunday night call live? Is that something that you're interested in? Are you committed to watching it at whatever day? Are you committed to coming to Meetup Monday? In 2021, Meetup Monday, 2 times a month, we'll be training, talking business stuff, working through fears and language and specific things like that. And then 2 times a month, we will be doing a power hour. So do you want to mark off your Mondays so that you can be at things like that? Do you have any home projects going on, things of that nature? And then you might be able to do this tonight, and you might also need to wait. If you are not clear on your priorities and the things within those priorities, then the next thing that you will do is you will write down what is your volume that you want, What will that require from you? How many new PCs do you want to bring on? Is that going to require you to host a virtual event? Okay. I'll tell you, we will do some team virtual events, but 2021 is going to be very heavy on you all executing your own events. Now, that is not without training or guidance, or if you need help on how to do that, there's something like that out there. There's actually, there's probably 7 or 8 examples out there for you to do. And if you have questions about that, ask me or ask your upline, okay? But what's that gonna require from you? And what's that time commitment? For me, I will tell you, I haven't even gotten this on my spreadsheet yet, but my thing for 2021 is I am hosting a personal or a PC event every month. So for me to work less, I need it to be funneled into something very specific at one time to only take one of my times, right? And I can invite a lot of people to it. And so that is something that I am doing in 2021. I have committed to hosting my own event every single month. At least one, can be more, but I work very heavily off of minimum goals. Like at a minimum, I will do this. Do you guys have questions about January? No. I'll give you a couple more minutes to write down things like that.
Are you all using Google Docs to keep track of all of these things? Or, I mean, I have a lot of paper and pencil. I have a lot of paper.
Wait, what?
A lot of things written on. How are you tracking them? Like, what is the best way to track these things for you?
The best
Google
way.
Docs.
Oh, the best way to track like my events and things like that?
Right, as you're scheduling everything out and getting reminders on those, or are you following? I mean, I take notes upon notes upon notes, but if I don't go back and look at those notes, then I don't know what's written on them. So how are you getting reminders on, you're planning everything out into what, a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet, or are you pencil and papering it? Like, what is the best way to keep track of it all?
I do 2 things. And one thing is this spreadsheet that I will say gifted, but from the business coach that I hired last year. This is what we used. I have modified it slightly to be even more simple. And so it is a Google Sheet. I will put the bones of it on the team page. I'll ask Brian to figure out how to do that, or Chrysalin, one of the two will figure out how to do that and give it to you guys. And the other one is Julie, I'm paper and pencil, and I ordered a Cora planner and I absolutely love it. And this is something, I say this all the time with all the categories of things. I can teach you guys how to do stuff all the time. And I love to, but I can't make you go back and look at your calendar. I can't make myself go back and look at my own notes. Hurting my own self is enough, you know? And so that's the thing that you guys have to do after tonight. These are the bones. You're going to have to go back and make sure that this is done. Yes, we're still going to have monthly planning events because I enjoy that, and I'm doing that myself anyway, so I might as well do it with you guys. Julie, does that make sense? Okay. We are going to move on to February, okay? So you'll notice every month we are going to carry this through every month. What's going on in February? We have Valentine's Day. Okay, we have taxes are still on people's minds. I believe in the first quarter, from what I understand, we will be getting the product launch of the revamped regimens. Okay. What products are you going to be focused on? Are people already thinking about spring break by then? Probably. What are the special dates that you have for if your priority is family? Have you scheduled a date night? Have you scheduled one-on-one time with your children or your pets? What is your PSQB goal for February? What is your business partner goal for February for each of these months? And when you tell yourself on the year, okay, I said I wanted to bring this many people directly into my organization this year. So how many am I going to have to bring in? Spread it out over the months. And then March, we're going to do the exact same thing. Daylight savings time, spring break is in March. People are wishing for warm weather, or maybe they have it already, depending on where they're living. It's a good time to talk about weather change and skin change. And when we think about the quarter, you have to ask yourself, what do you want to land on your calendar? This is what I mean when I say it's so purposeful. You get to say what lands on your calendar. No, we don't control emergencies and things of that nature. If we back up to what we started with, we already said what was priority for us for the year. And so when you look at January, February, and March, are those things reflected? I'll use the family example again because it's a great one. If you said that time with your, individual time with your children, or if you said that your marriage was going to be a priority, or if you said that your mental health was going to be a priority, is it reflected on your calendar? Have you scheduled a massage? Have you scheduled a dinner alone? Like, sometimes that's just the most glorious thing ever. Have you scheduled that for yourself? Because if you don't schedule it for yourself, it's not going to happen. Is there anything in that entire quarter, if you work a job, are there any work trips that you know will be coming up? Are there any things like that that you know you need to plan for? As you guys are doing this, I'm curious, can you think of any things that you normally forget on your calendar that you're putting on there right now?
Not something that I forget, but last year I decided to coach lacrosse, and there's a lot of things that you have to do leading up to it, and I crammed it all into 1 week, and it was super, super stressful. And so now I know ahead of time I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a little bit in January, a little bit in February, so I'll be ready towards the end of February. But for me, it's helpful to be like, oh yeah, I should probably look that up in January, so I'm not waiting till the last minute again.
Yeah, that's great. Another one that always comes up on me is car maintenance. Like working car maintenance into the budget, working it into the time, like things like that, they always slip. And so it's something that put on here. The other thing is, go.
And say that just reminded me, you have to have I forget what it's called, the new driver's license to fly this year. And so my license expires anyway. So you guys put that on your calendar somewhere to go get the new license if you plan on flying.
Yep. And now
Is this a Virginia thing?
it's a United States thing.
Okay, I'm in the dark. What is this about?
I can't remember what it's called. What is it? This
It's called
you have
Real
to have a s-
ID.
The real ID.
Yeah,
Is there a reason why we're doing this?
I don't know. I have no idea.
it's
I'm not
increased
asking me
security.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to have a passport to fly if you don't have a real ID. It's some
Okay.
upgraded license.
Interesting.
But
I'll research that.
that's the kind of stuff though. And I'll tell you, I mean, we're all human on here. How many of us like things like back to school shopping and Christmas? We're in the middle of Christmas right now. Sports like that, dance recitals. Like what kind of stuff like that do you know good and well is coming that you need to time and financially plan for? Okay. So looking now, we have the first quarter. Looking at your first quarter, looking at the priorities that you said that you wanted. Let's talk about business specifically. The priorities and the goals that you said that you wanted for the year, are they supported within these first 3 months? Do you have a virtual event on your calendar? I'm not saying you have to lock in the date right now, okay? But I am saying that over these next couple of weeks, if you want to host a virtual event in January, yes, we all know that we can pull one out of our butt. We've all been there. We've probably all done it already, unless you're just brand new. Yes, you can do it. But isn't it so much better when you have time to plan for it, right? You can do all the things that you'd wish you'd done this year, okay? You have plenty of time to plan it, to execute it, to invite to it. And so I really think in 2021, if you are not hosting Zoom events and things of that nature, if you are not asking your girlfriends to get together or your happy customers to invite their girlfriends to get together on Zoom and bring their favorite snack and drink and let you present our products and our business to them, then you're really missing out. Like really, really, really in a big way, because you are giving people two things. And when we think about our success, you give to other people and you will be successful. And so give people a really fun place to get together online because they're craving it, guys. They're craving it. Give them that, the positive environment and tons of fun, and then give them products to take care of themselves, right? Give them business opportunities. Every single one of us is so happy that we have this business opportunity. Give somebody else that happiness. And you can do that really well through events. So I really encourage you to hone in there on virtual events over 2021. So guys, it is 8:38 and I am happy to go through things on the calendar from April through December if you want to stay on here and do that with me. But I am also happy to tackle that as we go through 2021. Nothing changes in the way that I do that. And I've been doing it this way for a while. Looking at it, putting the things on it that you can't move, thinking about what normally comes up. What do I normally forget? Do we have a recital? Do we have practices? Do we have a, if you have an animal, do they need shots or doctors or vet appointments? Like, do they need these things? Putting that on there and then thinking about, we'll take April. That's the beginning of quarter 2. Easter, Earth Day, Good Friday, taxes for real, okay? And always thinking about if you have a JOB, you have something going on then. Do you have home projects going on? Have you scheduled the time for the priorities that you said? Have you scheduled your date nights? Have you scheduled your one-on-one time? Have you scheduled your time for you? Have you done that? Does your calendar support the vision that we spent the time creating in the beginning? Okay. And we all know that a year is a really long time or really fast, depending on which year you're in. And so that's why we will check in with these. You can't just create your calendar at the beginning of the year and then just cruise through. I check in with mine, you guys, weekly. I check in every Sunday. I check in monthly, and I check in quarterly. And I think it's so important. So would you guys like for me to go through the rest of the year, or would you like for me to open it up for questions or sharing? I would still love to hear anything that you guys want to share from your calendars that you've learned.
I'm finding it really helpful that you keep shouting out random things, because I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like I've got a handle on my month. And then you say something and I'm like, oh yeah, the girls' dentist appointments. Oh, I should put their birthday checkups on here. Oh yeah, I should get my physical. Like, I know when that's going to be, but like, it's jogging my mind to be like, oh yeah, I should put these on here too, to like, just get them on the calendar.
Well, with that being said, if you absolutely need to hop off, or if you want to continue this on your own, please do so. And I will keep rolling through the months and shouting out things, because honestly, Natasha, I find it valuable too. And if you guys don't know this, when we do our monthly planning sessions and weekly planning sessions, I go through a website called nationaltoday.com. And I look at all of the national days to get social media ideas and things of that nature, because what we're asking ourselves, as we get even smaller, quarterly, monthly, weekly, is how am I serving my audience? What products am I focusing on, right? These are the little things that we talk about monthly and weekly that support our one thing, our big thing that we said was our priority for the year. It's just different layers of it. So April, Good Friday, Easter, taxes for real, or tax extensions, whatever. You're welcome, Tracy. And birthdays, anniversaries, home projects really is something that tends to get me. Like, do you always pressure wash? Like during 1 month, right? You all, if you do it, you know how long that takes, right? Like, what are the things? Also, that's something that I would outsource if I were you. But what are the things that always take up our time in that nature? Then in May, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, which always turns into Memorial Day weekend, right? This will come into play as we do schedule our months. One, we know that we have had a killer Memorial Day sale before, and so that's good. But also, how are you planning your time off and your business time? Because a lot of people's time off, so let's just take Memorial Day. We had that huge sale this year in 2020 over Memorial Day. And so if that was your scheduled time off, that might have been some scheduled time off that you as a business owner would have gone, oh, actually, in fact, I'm going to pick up my phone or sit at my computer for an hour or carve out this time because this is important. People are also thinking about in May a change in weather. They're beginning to think about summer plans. School is being let out in different areas at different times. May is a really great time. April and May have always been good recruiting months for me. Times of change are always good recruiting. They just are. And people are thinking about what they're going to do with their summertime and things of that nature, depending on what their life looks like. But people are thinking about that. They're thinking about also, please don't forget for your mindset of your consumer during that first quarter, late first quarter to early second quarter. If people are thinking about how bad they need a vacation already, they're thinking about vacation funds. When I say they, I also want you to hear me say you. You are also thinking about vacation funds, which means if you are planning on taking a vacation in the summer or a bigger vacation, a great example is my second year in business. My second goal was to take our family of 7 to Disney World and be there for 5 days, my mom and my dad and my sister and her family. And so guess who had to dial it up to increase that paycheck, to do that vacation. I did. So if you have a vacation that you want to take next year, you are actively building that vacation right now. You are actively building those paychecks right now. So you need to be thinking about that through the months as well, not only as the mindset of your consumer, but also you. What do you have coming up that you're planning for, right? June is Father's Day, and again, vacations. Depending on what your market is like, some people check out, like your consumer. Some people are kind of more, summer vibes. Some are checked out in June. Sunscreen is a wonderful thing to think about in June. Wonderful thing. That's all I can really think of for June. June is the lightest month that I have on here. For me, I will tell you in June, I will be planning for my firstborn's 18th birthday. So if you all would like to just send me flowers or tissues or anything like that, it would be much appreciated. By June, you also need to be planning for a convention if you haven't already, because Allison, and for those of you guys that are new, our convention is generally in October. Who knows what anything will look like in 2021, guys, okay? But no matter what, you're either going to be going to it actually physically in person, which, by the way, will cost you way more money than you think that it will often. Okay, if you're me and you budgeted for it and then you spent more than you meant to, whatever, it's all tax deductible. But start planning for it earlier. And at the very least, it will be a virtual convention, and please plan for your time off then, because you're feeding yourself. Okay? Your business will not grow if you don't grow. I promise you that. If you look at your calendar right now and somewhere on your calendar is not time for personal development and like Julie had mentioned before, growing herself as a leader, if that's not on there, it won't happen. And if you're not growing yourself in that way, your business is probably not going to grow like that either. So July, 4th of July, full on summer, right? People are generally in a great mood in July. It's suffocatingly hot here in Tennessee, I'll tell you that. But it's full summer. People are thinking about, no, Allison, we don't have a specific date for convention yet. I'm sure we'll hear more about it in the coming months, generally sometime during Q1, okay? On that note, I'll also tell you that in terms of product release, I believe we had a new product released every quarter last year. And so I haven't heard any specifics on that, especially since we're getting all new regimens in the first quarter, I believe, but except for the last quarter. No, because that was convention. Masks? No. Yeah, masks? Was that last year? So I feel like something was earlier this year, and then we had brow defining boost and then convention. So anyway, you will have product launches in the specific quarters. They planned it out like that in years past. I haven't heard anything specific this year, and it might be because we're getting such a large release, but we do know that. So in July, day trips. There are a lot of vacations. What are you planning on doing? So this is a really good time. June and July are a really great time to look back at your priorities and say, so if you do have kids and you said that you wanted to make memories or we like to do like X amount of hikes in a year. And so we do a lot of day trips and stuff like that in the summer. That shows up heavy on my calendar in the summer. For me, and I don't know if any of you fall into this category, but if you are a blended family or if your children live in 2 different homes like mine do, I also plan around that. And so in the summer, my daughters are gone. And so my workload, the things I try to get accomplished are much bigger in the summer. I have a chunk of time in the summer that I just go hard. And so that there's a balance in there for me in the year. And I don't know if you relate to that as well. But if that is what your life looks like, please take that into consideration, okay? When you have more time than others. And again, like I said before, asking yourself the question, what do you want your life to look like this summer? Build it now.
One thing I just went back and added for May that you jogged my memory is we started last year making the summer bucket list with the kids, and to do that like before the summer, to like plan it out, because some of my friends do that and they're like really cute things. Like some of them are even just like get Slurpees on 7-Eleven day, or like really random things like that. But there's so many cute little things to do that aren't necessarily even vacation oriented, just like bake cookies, like check.
I love that. And that's really inspiring to other people, as you've been inspired by watching other people do that on social media. Then as you're doing it, you can inspire other people as well, being a resource, being a source of value and positivity like that for others is super awesome. I have that noted down in Q4 in October. When we get there, I'll tell you, I have a big note for myself about that. August is back to school time. Okay, whether you need to financially or time plan for that, but also Spotless, Unblemished, Recharge, Brow Defining Boost for teen girls, all these things that are back to school ready. Go ahead and plan your year to where, not that you're not selling it the rest of the year too, you guys get me, but that's your highlight. That's your product highlight. When can you help people? So really towards the end of July and August, when people are going back to school. And then in September, we've got Labor Day. We've got fall coming. People are itching for fall. They're suffocating from summer by September. They're getting ready for all things fall. What is important to you? And so when September comes, there's a change. We all know it. We feel it, right? And so when September comes, really want to ask yourself what's important to you for this. You know, we'll be checking in, like I said, throughout the year, but September is the end of Q3, and really looking at what did we say we wanted, where are we at, who are we showing up as, these things that we've done, this work on our mindset, these I am and I want statements, things that you're going to do for other people. How are you serving your people? Are you showing up as that person? Check in with that. So the end of September and October, I have, side note, football season, right? So if that's big in your family. Allison, when does hunting start?
It varies, but it's more like it's a fall, winter, like for us, like deer and stuff. But yeah, different. Okay. We hunt everything, so we kind of hunt all year long.
If that is a thing to you, like make sure that that's their football season, hunting season, whatever that is for you, make sure that that's on there. And then family pictures. So this is one that smacked me in the face every year, every year, until last year I finally planned for it. Financially planning, time planning, outfit planning, all the stuff. If you want to have family pictures taken, if you are the kind of person who mails Christmas cards, that's you. You should think about that earlier on, okay? If you are the person who likes to save for Christmas or buy Christmas presents along the way, make yourself some notes. These things don't happen accidentally. They happen on purpose. Okay? I keep a running list of things that the people in my house say that they like or want throughout the year. Makes it so much easier whenever it comes to buying gifts, whether I do buy them early or I buy them all at once. To wonder what so-and-so wants. I was listening through the year, right? So October, the end of September and October, I have myself a huge note to plan for your favorite fall things now. Is that pumpkin picking? Is that pumpkin decorating? Is that apple picking? Is it fall pictures? Is it fall hikes? What are these? What's your fall bucket list? Your summer bucket list? What's your fall bucket list? What are those things? And then, of course, your usual list. Birthdays, anniversaries. Do you have any home projects? Are there any updates to your home or cleanings or things of that nature? Any maintenance that needs to be done? And then, of course, in our usual list, Going into quarter 4, what is your PSQV goal? How is that matching up to your yearly goal that you set? What needs to be done? What adjustments need to be made? And again, how do you need to show up that month to make sure that happens? You are the one that is going to have to hold yourself accountable to these. Some of these things are super fun, and they're going to make life so much easier for you because you pre-planned for them. But at the end of the day, like we've been saying, you can plan, but you have to have your mindset right. And we're going to talk about that in such a big way in 2021. I've watched so many people at this point come in and stay, or come in and out, or say that they're going to do X, Y, Z and then not, and all types of things like that. And I can tell you at this point so freaking confidently that the thing that sets people apart is belief every single time. If you are doing amazing and then I don't know what happens, but you stop believing in yourself or the product or the business or whatever, things change. It's belief. So checking in there with what you said that you wanted, and if you're showing up to do the things to get you there, okay? November, this is going to be easier because we like just got out of this, but in November, of course, we always have election time, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, and so we want to plan. Rodana Fields has done a really great job over the past couple of years of giving us sales and things of that nature for it. We used to have to come up with our own, and so I love that they do something for us now, but you should probably be planning on having an event for that time. And honestly, the more planning that you do on things like that ahead of time, the better. It makes it so much more fun to execute if you've pre-planned some of it, okay? What are some of the things too? This is a good time to go back and look at, you know, what kind of regrets do you have over these past few months, man? For me, some stuff like, oh, I wish that I had done this for my PCs. I always mail them things throughout the year and things like that. And I do mail them a yearly, like, little PC thank you package. But I wish I had done a on-point job of asking them for Christmas wish lists, making things like that for them. I really think that I could have increased my sales this month and in November if I had done some more of that seed planting in October and November. And so that's on my list for this coming year. It's a regret that I have. I believe that I really could have boosted some of my sales in some of those specific places. And so look for things like that and then plan that this is what you're going to do next year. Okay. And then of course your usual list. Do you have birthdays? Do you have anniversaries? Do you have JOB trips? Are you moving? Anything like that. Okay. And in December, this one's easy because we're here right now. Your customer, and well, I'll back it up. In November, October and November, your customer's probably already thinking about Christmas shopping. And so please make sure when you're asking yourself, how are you serving your audience? How are you serving your people? Talk to them about options for opening a business in September, October, November. Christmas is coming every single year without fail, okay? All these things are coming. Vacations are coming. These things are coming, and people want them. And we have an incredible opportunity to give people to build extra income so that they can live life bigger and do the things that they want to do. And so make sure that you're offering that to them and explaining the value of that in October and November. And of course, talking about in December, ways that they can build their next year. It starts by the decisions that they're making towards the end of that year. And so we're planning for Christmas, we're planning for holiday parties, we're planning for New Year's and New Year's Eve, we're planning for all of our usual things. And we are in the middle of December right now, guys, and I can tell you, and you can probably tell me, if you are working your business as a business, December is just another month. It has a couple of holidays in it, but so do some other months, right? Why December seems to be different to people than other months, I honestly have no idea. I know that it's busier when it comes to holidays and family things and whatever that looks like for you this year, but you still own a business. And I was going to mention this on the team page the other day, and then I got into my day and I didn't. We are really not in the gifting business. Yes, we have incredible gifts and we get to do that kind of thing. We get to, help people get gifts towards this holiday season, but we're actually we're in the skincare business. We're helping people take care of themselves, and people are washing their face every single day like normal, we hope, or not. And if they're not, then they're probably looking for us anyway, or they're going to be looking for us soon. And so although it's really nice that we do have things that people can buy as gifts, that's not what your December volume is built off of. And so I want to encourage you right now, if you're finding yourself in a place where you're not happy with where your business is right now, do something about it. It's not weird to talk to people about skincare on the 22nd of December. It's just not. People are probably not buying any by the way, the gifts aren't getting there if they're buying them from you today. It's not happening. That's just not happening. But I hope that you understand what I'm saying. Yes, we can be helpful when it comes to helping people get gifts and things like that, but our volume really comes from helping people start businesses in December. That's huge. And buying their skincare. Okay.
I think that also people think that they're getting, because they think that their people know what they want, but they don't. But I get business after Christmas from a lot of women. Can you just go ahead and order me this? And I'm like, it didn't end up under your tree like you thought it would, huh?
It's true.
People always, I'll ask for Christmas. But I'm like, but do you? Because nobody ever buys it for you. And then you.
Yeah, you are so right. You are so right. So I want you guys to have expectations of goodness for the rest of this month. Yes, we're probably not talking to people about skincare on Christmas and Christmas Eve. Like, that's just, unless somebody writes you, right? Keep your store open. Post like normal. Talk to people about skincare like normal. Ask people if they're open to looking at the business like normal, okay? Because people are thinking about money more than ever in December. Well, whether people want to admit it or not, they just are. It's tough. It can be super tough for a lot of people in December, right? And you have something that can help. So that is all I have for this. You can expect, like I mentioned, for us to have quarterly check-ins, and then we will have our month planning sessions and our weekly Sunday planning